And welcome back. Focal Point Effort. Brian Fisher is my name. Let's see if we can clean up just a little bit on this Islam thing before we move on to immigration. Homeland Security is stonewalling about the citizenship status of the mom, the one that we just heard saying Allahu Akbar. If I get killed, my son gets killed, I don't care. Allahu Akbar. Now, we know the son was naturalized as a citizen on September 11. The older brother was a permanent legal resident, but not a citizen. In fact, the FBI, this ought to be a tip-off, the FBI held up his citizenship request because they were concerned about him. He had a domestic violence beef. You got the stuff from Russia, how he's a threat to national security. So they held off. The former husband of the mom is a permanent legal resident, but they will not say whether the mom was a citizen or not. And the CIA was the one that said this guy belongs on the terrorism list. And one of the things that happened with the guy in the hospital room, maybe you've heard this, a judge showed up way before the FBI was ready to have her show up. They were questioning the guy. He was answering their questions. All of a sudden, this judge barges into the hotel room, shuts everything down, Mirandizes the guy, and he stops talking. And the FBI said, look, he was providing valuable intelligence, and he stopped talking just as soon as the judge showed up. So there's I don't know what that is, whether it was intentional or just incompetence, but there it was. Some question about whether these guys funded this terror plot through the sale of drugs. They apparently both were making money selling marijuana, so that is out there. And you've heard this by now. The whole family was on welfare. And the media is trying to get information from the welfare authorities in Massachusetts about how much they're not talking. I mean, that means it's bad. If they're not telling you the truth, that means it's bad. It's going to make them look bad. Remember, the law is that if there's any chance you would become a public charge, they're not even supposed to let you in the country. And here these guys for years, this whole family had been on all kinds of welfare subsidies. And it only ended in 2012 when the wife, she was the American-born wife of the older brother, she was working 80 hours a week. The wife, the mom, working 80 hours a week, and that's the only thing that got him off welfare. And you know, right now we are paying the medical bills for the younger guy, and we're going to pay for his attorney, his public defender. We talked about this yesterday. The Constitution says he's got a right to an attorney. There's no way it's right to prevent him from having access to legal counsel, but there is no guarantee anywhere in the Constitution that somebody else has to pay for him. That's his job. He goes off and kills 3 people and blows the legs off of 20 of them and puts 265 of them in the hospital. It's his job to retain an attorney and to find a way to pay for him. And here we are paying for his medical bills and paying for his attorney as well. All right, well, let's turn our attention a little bit to the immigration issue. Let me find my immigration stack. And Rob, let's drop down, if we can, to clip number... I can turn the page on my rundown here, down to clip number 10. You know, this is an interesting thing. This is Ted Cruz talking about why he thinks President Obama is pushing this immigration bill, and he may be onto something. I think it's a win either way for Barack Obama. Number to call, by the way, 888-589-8840. We'll start taking calls before the end of this segment, 888-589-8840. But Ted Cruz, you know, this is a win either way for Barack Obama. If he gets this through, it's suicide for the GOP because all these immigrants are going to vote Democrat. In fact, grab 16 first if we can, Rob, the Pat Buchanan clip. Can we slide down to that one? Pat Buchanan putting his finger right on the irrationality. I'm trying to avoid using the stupidity word, but that's about the only one that fits. The Republicans getting behind this, Marco Rubio getting behind this, makes absolutely no sense, and Pat Buchanan explains why in clip 16.
Reason why Republicans should do it, and what is the reason Republicans are doing it? You and I know, Laura. They were terrified by the fact that they lost the Hispanic vote 71 to 27. I think there were many other reasons why they did that. But that's what they believe, and they're in a political panic because of this, which is all fine, and politicians in panic do various things. But right now, An amnesty for 11 or 12 people whom we do not know, and we don't know where they are, who they are, a blanket amnesty, it seems to me, is almost an act of suicidal folly.
You know, and we even had Politico out with a big piece. Look, if this immigration bill goes through, it's going to change the political dynamics in America forever. I mean, the Republicans will be in an absolute permanent minority until the end of time because these people are going to vote Democrat. That's Politico saying that. So, you know, you understand why the Democrats are for it. This is 11, 12 million voters potentially. I have no idea why any Republican in his right mind would be for this thing, like Marco Rubio flacking for this thing. But here is what Ted Cruz thinks Obama's ultimate agenda might be. Let's listen.
I think the president wants to campaign on immigration reform in 2014 and 2016. And I think the reason that the White House is insisting on a path to citizenship for those who are here illegally is because the White House knows that insisting on that is very likely to scuttle the bill.
So what Ted Cruz is saying, look, there's a reason. Obama knows this thing is not going to go. He knows this path to citizenship is not going to make it into law. I mean, it might in the Senate because you've got these bonehead Republicans supporting this thing. There's no way it's going anywhere in the House. I will flat out guarantee you that the Republicans in the House are not going to let this thing go anywhere. So this path to citizenship thing, DOA, dead in the water. So why does Obama keep flacking for it? Well, because he wants to be able to campaign on it. He wants to be able to go out there 2014, 2016, those mean, evil, wascally Republicans. They don't care about the poor. They don't care about the poor huddled masses yearning to be free and campaign on it. Remember, that was his strategy with the gun bill. He wanted the gun bill to pass the Senate. That's why he was teed off when it didn't pass the Senate, because he wanted it to pass the Senate because he knew it would get shut down in the House, and then he would go out and campaign on it. He'd campaign on it. Look, the Senate passed it. The Democrats, our side of the aisle, we passed this thing. But those mean, evil, wascally Republicans on the House, they don't care if your kid gets shot up at school. They don't care if criminals have guns. They don't care that innocent people are getting mowed down. They don't care. But we do, and elect us because Republicans don't care. And all that got blown out of the water when it didn't even pass in the Senate. But Ted Cruz, I think, putting his finger on what the deal is with this bill over in the House. Now, let's grab 15 if we can, Rob. This is Ann Coulter, kind of connecting what happened with these Boston Muslim massacre bombers and the immigration issue, and putting her finger on the fact we got a real problem with assimilation in our culture. And legal immigration is as much of a problem as illegal immigration because we're letting the wrong people into our country. Here's Ann Coulter.
I mean, our immigration policy has nothing to do with helping America. It has to do with solving the internal problems of other countries. We'll take Russia's radicals. We'll take the illiterate, unskilled, low-skilled workers from all these other countries. We'll take their old people and put them on our supplemental security insurance and Medicare. No, your immigration policy is supposed to be to make your country better, not to make it worse and to create all these problems. Lindsey Graham was on some show this weekend saying, oh, this shows how we need better tracking. I'm thinking this shows how we need better immigrants. You know, with your pal Mario Rubio pushing this amnesty bill now, when
that
we're
would be
expecting
Marco Rubio,
whatever.
not Mario.
When we're expecting the FBI to do background checks on 20 million illegal aliens in the next 3 months, they can't do a background check on a radical when they're tipped off by Russia.
So Ann Coulter, and I think she's exactly right, we need better immigrants. You know, the basic immigration policy is designed to help other nations resolve their internal problems. We will take your wretched, miserable refuse, and then we will load the cost of taking care of them on the backs of ordinary taxpayers. Let's go to the phones. Let's see if we can grab a call here from Roberta, Raleigh, North Carolina. Roberta, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
want to know that your program articulates the way that I feel. I am a Hispanic. My grandmother came from Mexico freely when the borders were open, and my mother was born here. I am half Hispanic, and I am American. I do not appreciate the fact that people are going to automatically receive welcome mat into this country that I am building with my fingers and nails. I don't appreciate it. And you know what? I believe that people need to go through the process like everybody else did. I had a friend, her husband was here illegally. He went back to Mexico. He went through the entire process. His family was separated from him for 3 years. And he went through the process legally. And he's now a permanent resident. But I don't appreciate this, and I appreciate your program because, like I said, it articulates the way that I am feeling. And I'm a Hispanic. Soy mexicana. De mi corazón es mexicana. And I'm saying I'm a Mexican. My heart is Mexican, but I am an American.
Well, Roberta, you know, I appreciate so much you calling, and I appreciate so much saying what you're saying because that's a concern I have. I would think, regardless of where people came from, that the immigrants to this country, and we are not against legal immigration. We are for legal immigration. And we want to bring people into this country who are going to become Americans, who are going to assimilate, who are going to adopt our heritage, our values, our history, our heroes. That's what we want. We want immigrants exactly like you, Roberta. That's what we want in your family. We want them to go through the process, play by the rules, and come in the front door. That's what we want. And I would think, Roberta, that those that have that are here and have played by the rules, they would be the ones that would be the most upset about guys like Marco Rubio saying, we're going to let these 11 or 12 million people who are lawbreakers, they've broken immigration law, we are going to leapfrog them over. There's over 4 million people, Roberta, that are waiting in line in their country of origin to come to the United States. They're willing to play by the rules. They're willing to wait their turn. And it just bothers the heck out of me that we have Marco Rubio saying, no, we're going to jump 12 people ahead of them in line. 10 seconds, Roberta. Anything you want to add before I let you go?
Thank you for articulating my feelings.
All right. Thank you, Roberta, so much for calling. That's just a terrific, absolute terrific call. And that's exactly the concern we've got. When I come back, I'll tell you about what Frank Luntz is saying about conservative talk radio on this immigration issue. Stay with us, Focal Point AFR Talk.